All righty. Welcome everybody to the another session of Facebook Live on MOUG. This is Dee coming to you from Matterport headquarters. We have a special guest today. Can you mute yourself? Wait.
How's that?
That's better. All right. Before we get started, I wanted to welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us. It was great to have you guys last week as well when we had our new CEO, RJ, on. He had so much fun. He's going to do it again. So we're very excited. The other thing is, don't forget, this Friday we move to our new accounting system, which means that if you have any invoices that you care about, you need to download them this week because they're going away on Friday. So starting Friday, you will only be able to access invoices from that point on. So please download your invoices. The changes will be happening this Friday. If you have any questions, please reach out to support. We should be here to help you. And on that note, we can start our Facebook Live for today. We have a very special guest who's very near and dear to my heart. He came out and visited, and I actually call him now my friend, which I assume is okay.
Absolutely.
I'm so proud to introduce the inventor of GibbetMount, the one and only John Hubbard.
Hey!
Take it away, John.
Thanks so much. Oh, I'm really psyched to be here, Dee. I really appreciate it. And you are absolutely one of my friends, and I very much appreciate your support. There's been a lot of really great people involved in this project so far, and you are far and away one of my favorite. So, yep, I'm down here at my mom's house in Fort Myers on a golf course, and it's a whole lot better than the frozen Northeast. And I'll try not to make a fool of myself. So.
All righty. So why don't you start out by telling us a little bit about what GibbetMount is?
Well, as we all know, all of us users of Matterport Pro 1s and 2s, the camera mounts at its base, which is terrific for everything that we do, the real estate and engineering and every other aspect of Matterport use. The challenge, of course, is if you want to scan anything in a downward position, how do you do that? You can't, as of until now, lower a Matterport into a hole. And that's why there is this. This is, this little puppy here is the product of basically 3 years of design. It's patent pending. And what it does is it's basically a housing device. Your Matterport camera slides right into this, either the Pro 1 or 2, and with this chuck it mounts to the surface deployment method and lowers directly down any subterranean or below grade environment. That would include, of course, manholes, but data centers, anything below ground. And that effectively increases our approach. It has an internal all-day-long LED lithium battery, and this thing here is its ground approach sensor. So as it gets nearer an object, it changes color from red to blue to green. That's I call that its proximity sensor, which is important when you're at the surface and deploying this thing. You don't want to put a $3,500 camera into water or a sludge tank or anything like that. So that's why we designed that, and I'd love to tell you more about it.
That light is like the beeping you get when you back up your car.
Right.
You have like one of those expensive cars that start beep, beep, beep.
Exactly. Well, it's super handy. I mean, if you go on my website, you'll see examples of it. I put my Matterport within about 3 inches of a sludge tank. That's effluent human waste, which is not pretty. Not a place you want to lose a Matterport or dip it into this liquid. And it was, back then we didn't have a proximity sensor. So it was literally me at the surface shining a flashlight down and looking, okay, oh, we're almost there. And well, now, you have an upward facing, very bright LED that lets you know, okay, yeah, you're getting very close. You probably want to stop lowering your camera now. And to be honest, that was the happy accident. This project has involved a number of happy accidents. The most important which was the surface deployment mechanism. That being, okay, we figured out how to make a Matterport work upside right when deployed in a downward way. How do you effectively do that from the surface? Well, it turns out the best way is with a tripod that I've partnered with awesome people at American Grip out there in LA, and they produce a fantastic product that is very sturdy, very rugged, and is perfect for lowering a camera into that environment. And so I got it. Thank you. Carl is over here giving me notes saying I'm not live for some reason. Am I showing up live? I don't know.
Yeah, you're live. I see you.
Maybe they don't get it. Anyway, so the beauty of the subterranean tripod is that it's also reversible. And so we've redesigned that tripod to be able to go up as well as go down, which is super handy for all of us Matterport users, and also, of course, Leica, because it uses a 3/8 threaded bolt, which is universally standard for our cameras that we love, the Matterport, and of course Leica and Faro. But so we now offer that as an option for going up 14 feet or 24 feet with casters. I've literally done a tunnel that was 1/4 mile long, and that would be impossible really to do without an extended height tripod with wheels that would allow you to go down that very long structure and very quickly go up 14 or 24 feet. You literally unscrew the thing, boom, boom, boom. You know, I love my Manfrotto tripod, of course, and that's super handy. But when you go to raise that up, it only goes so far, and then getting it to go further, there's a lot of moving parts.
Yep. So I have tried the 14-foot one. It is super stable. It is awesome. It works. It is actually on our website now as part of the tripods that we recommend. So for those of you who are in the insurance industry, in AEC, who are looking for something that's really sturdy that can go high, 14 to 24 feet, check out our website. There's a link there to the GibbetMount website where you can order them.
This, by the way, is the business end. People have asked, how stable is it? How does it support the Matterport? This is what I call the chuck, which I'd like to introduce into the lexicon of understanding. This screws into the bottom of your camera with a 3/8, and then, of course, it has 3 points of positive locking. So it goes in like this, it twists, and there's a thumb screw. It is rock solid. As you saw, Dee, it's rock solid. And I'm very happy with that. There's no vibration or shaking at height.
So this is super awesome because this will save lives, because as I've understood, sending people down manholes can sometimes be not good for humans. So if we can scan manholes without having to send people down them, yay.
Right. Well, I mean, selfishly, that was my motive in the first place. I started doing this as a result of working with engineering, and that was my first client. I have an awesome buddy named Ross who works for an engineering company. It was actually his suggestion to figure out how to put one of these down a manhole. Now, I don't expect that everybody in the Matterport world is going to want to get involved with manholes, but like I said, this is up to you all. Find, any kind of place that's below grade. That involves half of the physical world almost. That really expands the usage of this camera.
Yeah.
And you don't need to be involved in, municipal water treatment or anything like that. I've had calls from people all over the world that do like data centers that are located under the floor. And there's plenty of places for those of us that own this camera that want to get involved in this work. And, but for me, they have these things called a sniffer, which if you're going to get involved in anything subterranean and that involves plumbing or whatnot, you do need to have one of these devices because of the dangerous methane and whatnot. And they are frequently losing people in manholes. It is actually a legitimate problem, and the first responders that are sent to save them are also being subdued by the noxious gases. So having the ability to create a very accurate 3D model will save lives. So I'm happy to help out in that way.
Not only that, but I've also seen you on top of tanks, and instead of having to go into the tank, you've started from the top and you've lowered your camera down. So that's been super useful because I don't know about you, but I really don't want to be walking in human waste. So I've seen samples of that. That's just terrific. So this is helping save lives. This is making people's lives easier. So this is a great product. But the other exciting thing is that you've also figured out how to attach this to a drone, which somebody is asking about. So tell us about that.
Well, just like I have the kind of inventive spirit, I'll try to put this Matterport thing anywhere it'll go. And people have said, hey, can you mount this thing to a drone? And why not? I'm not the first to recommend putting a Matterport on a moving object in the air. And when Chris Hannaford, VR Views, asked me if I could produce a mount for him, I'm, of course, very excited to do that. He's involved right now in creating models out there in LA, and I'm told he's waiting for the weather to get a little better, but I'm looking forward to seeing what he's produced. And yes, what I did was I created a mount that worked with his Matrice 600, which involved his you can buy the dampening plate that fits the rails to a Matrice. And I created a mount that goes directly to that, and it works with his drone. So I know that we're very excited about what he's able to produce. I have seen some of his first takes. He's doing some cell towers out there. And heck, if you can get your very stable Matrice to hover 8 feet from a top of a cell tower and create a model, depending on the weather, of course. I understand that this camera doesn't function with bright daylight, but he is working with alternatives, a shielding device that will allow him and his camera to pick up that data. And I'm very excited to see a model that involves the top of a tower. In fact, the entire length of it.
Yeah, so I think he has some examples of scans he's done with the Matterport connected to his drone. We should we'll get a copy of that and we'll post it here for you guys.
That'd be great.
See. But it's super exciting. The first two he gave me were upside down, and I've also seen some people try and scan subterranean, but their camera was upside down, and then they call me and they're like, "Can you make this right side up?" And I'm like, my superpowers only go so far.
Not so much.
I can't do that. So this
God bless you, Dee. You have totally saved me on many occasions, as you know, and I'm happy to help out in that people aren't going to be sending you upside down models very much longer.
Yes. So this is very exciting. Yeah.
Well, when you consider how many Matterports there are presently in the market with MSPs that are doing real estate, and maybe there are some who would maybe want to get involved in engineering, as I was excited to. And I'm not going to speak to the average real estate user, but the money and the monetary compensation for working with engineers is very good, and it makes for a very happy day for a guy like me. And you already own a device that's fantastic for collecting data. Yes, a Leica BOK is reported to be very good at it and perhaps better at some things, but when you own a $2,500 camera that will collect data and make a beautiful point cloud the way my engineers are very happy with, why not? Go for it. So I don't have access to my keyboard or any comments. I don't know what people are saying, so I can't answer any
sorry.
questions.
Okay, so I have a question for you. So this is from Dorn. Have you established the cost for your equipment? Can you tell them what it costs?
Yeah, we've got a very general cost, and it's on my website at GibbetMount.com, and those will be available until March 15. We've been working out the production aspect of this, which involves milling things like this on a CNC device. So that price is fluctuating somewhat as our, the costs of shipping and whatnot. We're discovering these are very heavy. So the prices that are there will be there until March 15, and then they'll probably adjust to some degree.
Sweet. So Michael Kiernan asks, if you're worried about infrared issues with the Pro 2, wouldn't the new Theta V with Cortex be an option? All right, so Michael, here's the deal. If you're going to take images with any of the spherical cameras, the images are not going to be high enough quality to see all of the details that are in these cases. For example, down a manhole, you need to see all the cracks, all the crevices. I mean, they're looking for issues with that manhole to make sure they're safe. So the images that you are going to need are going to be definitely high resolution, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, John.
No, you're exactly right. And that was something that I've been looking into. You have to understand, my primary motivation for this has been that of a data collector myself. It's not so much that I'm involved in creating a product. So if there's a better way of doing it, I personally am very open to adapting that if it's a theta or whatever else. It so happens that the Pro 2, for what it is perfect for this. It already exists. I really can't improve on it. And yeah, I've got a product designed around it, but if the theta promises to produce a point cloud of sufficient quality, then use that. But at present, isn't. So,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So basically, if you do scans with the theta or any of the spherical cameras, remember you can't order floor plans and you can't get matter packs. And the images are much lower. They're not high quality HDR. So if you really need the details, like in the insurance industry, it's not really useful for that because the images that they're getting, they want to see the damage, right? And you scan a building for the insurance and restoration industry to get floor plans as well. And if you add one scan from a spherical camera, that disallows you from getting the floor plans. So yes, I encourage you to use those cameras, but be careful when you use them and make sure it's for the right reasons.
What other questions are there, Dee? I can't see.
Jack says he wants one of those. Yay, Jack.
Yay! Well, we're happy to help you, Jack.
The order John's getting lots of orders, so
yes.
Place your orders now so he doesn't, so you can get one soon. You don't have to wait on the waiting list because they are flying off the shelf. All right, if you build it with carbon fiber, it will be lighter. Have you ever considered this option?
Building which? The GibbetMount itself or the tripods?
I think this is Manuel Garcia asked. I think it's the GibbetMount.
Yes, actually, Emmanuel, this is extremely light. It's I produced these on a 3D printer. They're rugged as heck. I have absolutely no qualms of dropping one of these, my camera into a hole with this. It's very light. The actual chuck and this part is made of steel. It is this is a little heavy, but it needs to be. And I understand that carbon fiber might be good for that, but the actual this part of it is very light. There's actually a fill involved with this. It's made of, I make them on a 3D printer. And so they have they're made of filament. I don't know what the actual weight of it is, but thank you. I'm always open to suggestions. So,
yay. Walk us through how to use your products. Can you give us a demo? Says Noel.
I would love to. Actually, I don't really have we talked about doing this curbside, and we decided that would pretty much be a dumpster fire, trying to answer questions. So if you go on my website under videos, there's actually a video of this in use with my co-inventor, Jason Martin, who operates the device. But this here is basically, this mounts directly into the tripod. It slides right on. This cable and winch arrangement is what you secure to the camera itself. And, well, it's a tripod located over a manhole, in this case a manhole, and you simply lower the extending arms down to the bottommost part, make your scan. It should take you no more than 5 minutes, in my opinion, to scan an entire subterranean chamber. The beauty of this camera actually is that it does very well at scanning at that distance. And in fact, a lot of my clients are like fiber optic and things like that, and so they want to be able to read what is labeled on the wires. And so yes, you lower this down, you make your scan, you crank it up, you make another scan, and in order to capture the either the zenith or the nadir, which are the 2 points in which your camera can't see above and below. Just simply move the tripod over to the other side and lower it to its furthest most point. That way you'll capture all of the bottom, and the same way with the top.
I didn't know
If that helps. Yeah.
Cool. So
sure.
If you're looking for business, go to the city where you live and tell them that you need to scan their manholes, because I'm sure
right.
they have some kind of maintenance crew. So this can apply to every city in every state. Right.
Yeah, that's actually a really exciting aspect of this, is that they don't yet know that you can do this. I've been working with engineers for a couple of years now, and they use what's called a hole stick, or a camera pole. So it's literally a GoPro on the end of a stick, and they're going down, and that's how they're inspecting their holes right now. And it's not, you can't tag them, you can't interrogate the model, and you can't stop. I mean, obviously you can stop a video, but with the 3D model, it's so much better for them, because they're able to, geotag the various aspects. They can label this, they can stop motion, they can collect photos.
Yep.
And this is really taking off when they discover that, oh, by the way, the cost of this is very low. A lot of these municipalities with their budgets are going to be on board with this. So I'm not pretending to tell you how to capture that work. I'm merely trying to create a vehicle for you to do that. And so it's up to you to figure it out.
So Jan Menard, yay Jan, one of my
favorites,
he asks, what is the maximum depth?
Depends. Well, right now I can go either, 24 feet is the depth of which my lowest tripod will go. I don't know if Lance is on this Matterport, but he, the owner of American Grip, so it's quite possible that he has something up his sleeve that'll go even lower, but right now that is the lowest that I can take you. Unless you drop it down the hole, and then you can go as far as you want.
Sweet. All right. Another question. Raphael says, can we lower this device safely from the ceiling of a building?
I don't. Well, consider this. If you can mount your tripod above the ceiling and lower it through a hole in the ceiling and not fall through the ceiling, then by all means.
Yeah, but the ceiling has to be like flat. If it's slanted,
right.
You're going to go slip sliding down that.
Yeah, I mean.
So be careful.
Right. I mean, I'm all for it. I want to hear all these examples. I mean, anybody like, Chris Hannaford, he calls me and says, hey, I'd like to mount this to my drone. Of course I'm on board with that. So, I hope you have, corporate insurance. My business is Hubcam. That's from which I do all of my work. And of course, I have liability insurance. So, I mean, if you're not going to destroy the Sistine Chapel, then go right ahead and try it.
Yep. So what about lighting issues? Asks Michael.
Lighting, that's another, the beauty of the Pro 2, it was the infrared sensor. It does extremely well in low light environments, but also, here's your lighting. In the early days, I actually had been attaching these, magnetic flashlights, LEDs that you get from Home Depot or whatever else, but now we've got it literally integrated in the system.
It comes with lights.
Yep. With a battery that'll last as long as your standard Pro 2 battery will last, which is like all day. So
Nico asks, how do you navigate up and down a manhole?
This is the other thing. It's not an exact science. I generally will scan about every 3 feet vertically. So that'll give you a very good cross section of what you're capturing. Because as you know, your camera sees about like this. So if you raise it up, there's gonna be overlap, and that's how I do it. It's like I said, it's not an exact science. I just try to raise it up about every 3 feet or so. If you want more accuracy, of course, make more scans. And,
yeah, and sometimes because they're stacked on top of each other, they're harder to get from one scan to the other. So sometimes you have to give that person access. You add them as a collaborator, and then they can go into the new showcase edit, and then you can actually pick which scans you want to go to. So yeah, so it's not hard to navigate. It's pretty cool. I like it.
Yeah.
All right. Um, Dustin says, with the understanding that every municipality has a different budget, what have you found to be the average acceptable industry price on a per manhole basis?
Beautiful question, Dustin. Nice. I know this is a big one for you. I'm very excited about it. Right now, gosh, you know, Dave Parker's going to, or Mark Parker's going to shoot me for saying it, but I generally charge $1,000 per day for my engineering work. A lot of people say that's way too low. It is what I started at. You could easily do $2,000, $3,000 per day, depending on what it is you're scanning. And if you're talking about manholes, well, you can extrapolate. I could probably do at least 12 manholes a day. I would charge a minimum of $500.
And he has this cool thing that goes onto the back of like your truck on a trailer hitch.
Oh yeah, subcam.
Yeah, and then you just drive your truck around the city, you
right,
open the manhole,
right.
and then it's right on the back of your truck, and then it just
right,
goes down.
And
so
kudos to my buddy Jason Martin and I figured that out of my garage. Believe it or not, it was originally made of a Thule bike rack, and it worked. Hey, it works. So you do mount it on the back of your truck and throw out a couple cones, and simply drive over the manhole, throw out your cones. I would suggest wearing a high vis vest, and nobody's going to question it. You can bang out your manholes, go up the street, do some more. And I can tell you the armed services are very excited about that. They seem to love their Humvees and whatnot. So they're very interested in that. And of course, that also supports a Leica or a Faro, not to give, publicity to those companies. They don't need it.
All right. One last question from Jack. Since the Insta360 1X has a waterproof case, could this case be modified to be waterproof?
That is a very good question, and one that I have toyed with quite a bit. I'll tell you that there's a couple things I've noticed is that the Matterport, not only it has a fan, so it likes to breathe, it keeps it cooler, as I understand it. So I have originally looked into making this submersible, not just water resistant, but waterproof. I tend to lean against that only because now I'd have to introduce some glass, and I'm not sure what that would do to the lens and light refraction. So it is very water resistant now in its design, and I may make it even more so by maybe making these back vents covered. But the front needs to stay open, as I understand it. Now that's something we could work on.
So this could be a GibbetMount 2.0.
Right.
If you can make it so that you can stick it underwater, oh my gosh, people will take it like under the ocean.
That would be cool. Can you imagine? That actually was included in the original patent application as well. So believe it or not, that's written in. I mean, I don't know if you know anything about inventing stuff, and I didn't before doing this, and wow, what an experience. But, we're many thousands of dollars into this. And I'm told that you have to make claims for all kinds of things, and being submersible was one of them. And it did include a pane of German glass directly over the front. Now, I haven't done it. I don't know, again, if it would affect the light refraction or the infrared sensor. But heck, it could be. It's possibly in the works. And believe it or not, I do have about 3 other things coming down the pike. I've mentioned to you, Dee.
Yeah. So, so I would expect GibbetMount 2.0 to be scanning the ocean. Now, to stay still while you scan them is not an issue, but I'm sure you'll figure that out too.
Yeah, well, we got the frog, and that's a big part of it. So anyway, we love the frog.
So we are currently out of time. I wanted to give you a huge shout out and a huge thank you for taking the time to talk to us about this. It's an invention that's going to change the world. I'm very excited about it. People already are loving your tripods, even if just that. Good. The insurance industry is just eating those up. So thank you so much for everything you've done. Your passion, it's just amazing. I am so in awe of you. I bow down to you.
Please stop. No, you're the best. You've saved my butt so many times. We need to like clone you.
We're working on that.
Yeah, in all honesty, I really did come out with this product because I love the the Matterport world, and y'all are doing the same thing as me, which is trying to make a buck with this new technology. And if we can expand that marketplace to involve other areas, subterranean and very high up, that helps all of us.
Yep.
And really, that's what I'm about. So thank you so much.
Definitely a game changer. Thank you so much. We will definitely have you on again. We are planning to do a podcast with Mr. Hubbard. So look forward to that. We're going to be doing a series of podcasts. So if there's any topics that you're interested in, let me know. We can definitely work on that. And again, remember, next week we will be here at the same time, 9 o'clock Pacific time on Tuesday. That will be after these new accounting structures have come out. Remember, buy.matterport.com is going away. Everything will be accessible to you through your my.matterport.com, your cloud account. If you have invoices that you care about, print them out now. There's not going to be any new ones between now and Friday, so do it right now, because if you don't, they're going away and it'll be a lot harder to get them. All right. So again, thank you everybody for joining us. We definitely appreciate your time. We love having you. And again, thank you, John. And we'll see you next week. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.